Spicy Bytes!
Everybody, welcome to Spicy Bytes. My name is Lily McIntyre. I'm Wasabi's Social Communications Program Manager. So we are doing a special edition today, the 7 Deadly Dabs, some of the 7 hottest sauces that we've ever tried. And according to Andrew, the other half of my dynamic duo here, they are all the hottest ones. Before we get started, I just wanted to introduce everyone. First, on my left, I have Andrew Smith and Dan Manger. They are our subject matter experts today. They lead our competitive intelligence team here at Wasabi. And Andrew Likely, how are you doing?
I am doing great. Thanks, Lily. And Dan, you're an old pro, but how you feeling that we're kind of skipping the easy ones?
Yeah, no, the easy ones were definitely where I excelled last time, so slightly more nervous going into this one, but we'll see how we fare.
And Andrew, this is your first time with the sauces?
To be here. Looking forward to it.
Well, good luck. And my big PSA, I tell everybody, do not go to your face.
Okay.
Yes, don't wipe your eyes.
Yeah.
But I'm really excited about today's webinar because we will be talking about the AI results of the Wasabi Global Cloud Storage Index. And a little PSA before we give a little overview of what the Cloud Storage Index is. I recommend if you're looking for further resources, if you want to download the full report, all of those additional resources will be available in the webinar console, so be sure you check those out. So I guess before we start, Dan, we might have some audience members who might not know what the Cloud Storage Index is. Could you just give a little overview of what we're working with?
Yeah, absolutely. So starting about 3 to 4 years ago, our team noticed some gaps within the market in terms of data surrounding trends and any sort of adjustments, and we wanted to fill those gaps and provide some data for ourselves as well. So we work with a third-party survey service known as Vance & Bourne. This year we surveyed 1,700 IT decision makers. They are all, 99% of them are non-Wasabi customers, so we really aim to have a objective view on the market and to provide insights for not only Wasabi, but for the rest of the object storage market as well, and provide thought leadership and just identify some of the trends and movement that we're seeing.
Yeah, and it's really cool to see how the results change year over year.
Dan, you ask kind of the same questions most years, but there is some variation. And this year you took a different turn, didn't you?
Absolutely. So the way we have structured it is the beginning part of the survey usually stays consistent, and that's just so we can monitor some of the more common issues in the market. We've adjusted some of the other sections, and this year have decided to focus on AI, of course, and cloud security.
Now that everyone's up to speed on what the Cloud Storage Index is, I think we can all get started preparing our wings, and I will ask the first question for Andrew. Especially for those who haven't read this year's edition of the Cloud Storage Index, what is the big takeaway around AI? Because that's our big focus today.
I think for me, then maybe this is a little bit of an obvious takeaway from the Wasabi standpoint, but really, I think we were able to confirm some of the, organizations are storing more data and they're doing more with their data, and I think we kind of knew that, but we were able to confirm that and also check into kind of what some of their challenges are. So at the end of the day, it's not like there's this massive shift in the market in terms of what customers need or the services they require. It's almost like the core components, whether it's price, protection, predictability of using your data and keeping it cost effective, it's still the same playbook, even when it comes to AI. It's just kind of like on a different scale, and maybe there's some different performance requirements. But I think that was going into it this year, we wanted to answer those questions or get more detail in that area, like what are users really doing when it comes to AI and their data. So I think we were able to confirm kind of some of our hypotheses in that area. It's a lot of the same, but you just need that core foundation of keeping your data safe, accessible, predictable in terms of cost.
But I mean, the scale of cost is massive when we talk about AI specifically, as everyone here probably already knows. Andrew, anything to add?
Yeah,
to that?
what jumped out at me was, you know,
Careful.
the economy isn't exactly roaring, and yet budgets for AI pretty much stayed the same or increased, right?
Okay, Andrew, as our resident sauce expert, what are the notes that we're dealing with on this first hot sauce?
This is the Smoking Dragon. Smoked habanero.
Okay, the first deadly dab. Let's give it a go.
We have a dabber.
I'm not used to that. That starting off so hot. But very good. Okay.
Yeah, this one's already pretty hot. Great.
Okay, so circling back, this question is for Dan. Sorry if this picks up the ASMR of
He's
of the straw.
already hitting the milk.
Yeah.
I know, we just have to prepare. Okay, so as Andrew mentioned before, Dan, budgets are increasing around AI, storage, security, and the like. Where is the money actually going?
Yeah, I think it's important to kind of gain a deeper insight on that. I think it's common for people looking at the market to see a lot of this money just flowing into AI, but it's important to pull back the curtain and see where that actually goes. And what we found this year is that a third of that budget increase is going towards compute, and a third of that is going towards data. So you put those together; those both kind of make up the infrastructure of AI. And I think that's different from what a lot of people would initially think. I think a lot would assume that the money's going into software, kind of the bleeding edge of AI, where a consumer might be interacting with it, but it's all about having a solid structure, and a lot of that is going towards the infrastructure. I think that organizations are doing it the right way. They're not putting the cart before the horse. They are focusing on a solid structure for their AI initiatives, focusing on that compute and that data.
And Andrew, that's a little bit different than you see in regular IT spending, right?
Yeah, correct. I mean, when we look at the total market, it's almost like 70% of IT spending tends to go on software and SaaS. 30% tends to be allocated to infrastructure, so maybe storage, networking, and compute. But when you look at AI use cases specifically, and what our respondents told us this year when we asked them to talk about their budget allocations, that's basically flipped. So 70% on infrastructure, 30% on software and SaaS. I think it's just a reflection of kind of how nascent the use cases are, the market is. A lot of people are building that foundation themselves and then integrating their own data, having to manage their own company data to feed agents or models, right? So there's a lot of focus on making sure the spending on that infrastructure piece is well established.
It's big in the news nowadays, but a sneaky cost that people aren't talking much about, and I hear from customers all the time, people are running out of space, physical space. And now there's people are scrambling to open new data centers or expand the ones they have. And that's where actually one of the things I'm seeing Wasabi get a lot of traction with is I need space, or I need capacity now. It's going to take me a while to get the physical space. Let me use Wasabi to offload that until I figure out my physical requirements.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, I notice you're also, doing a dab. Would you mind explaining the flavor profile of this sauce before we try?
Excuse me, yes, this is the hot one, sweet Scotch bonnet, tropical amarillo.
Oh, I remember having that one. I liked it.
Heat level is 6 of 10.
Okay.
All right, cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Number 2.
I noticed that Dan and I have already gone for the milk, so
Nope.
that could be a bad sign. But this is very good. I thought the first one
This
was
one's much
actually
milder.
Yeah, I thought the first one was way spicier.
Weight on it.
You mean weight on it.
So ominous.
All right, moving right along to question 3 and sauce 3. So we were talking a lot before about this increased budget. So you would think that with that increased budget, there would be an ROI on that. Andrew, is that true? Is that not true?
Yeah. One of our focus areas was on exactly that topic, which is kind of like, are organizations achieving positive ROI when it comes to their AI projects? Are they still negative? Are they breaking even? Because with all of that budget, I think, and
More,
spending.
More.
Okay, all right, okay.
I'm the sauce, please.
Not enough.
With all that budget and spending, I think comes some expectation by the enterprise that
Absolutely.
there's a payoff, right? Or this project is a critical component of revenue streams or something, a successful project, right? But there's still a large proportion of organizations that are not achieving a positive AI or positive ROI on their AI projects today.
yeah.
So depending on who you ask, right, we segment the survey a bunch of different ways, but usually like 30-something%, kind of like 31, 32% of organizations globally say they are not achieving positive ROI. But what's interesting is the trend is accelerating towards positive ROI quickly. This is tough. This is a tough one for me. So we asked them, what is your ROI today, and what do you think it's going to be in the next 12 months, right? To get an idea of movement. 30%, 32% are not positive, but that percentage increases significantly over the next 12 months. So there's kind of like this shortening runway over the next year is how I interpret that.
I like that description.
Right, and it's kind of like a lot of times we'll allude to this as like the honeymoon period for AI, right, is kind of coming to an end. There's going to have to be some significant business benefits that I think are proven by organizations. And so from an IT spend perspective, it's like having laid the foundation of cost-effective infrastructure is really important.
Right.
Because then you can worry about those applications or the higher value things when it comes to delivering ROI, right? You're not having to shut down these projects because they're significantly over budget because somebody accessed data too much.
Right.
Or something like that. So it all kind of plays into that ROI conversation in terms of laying the foundation.
So basically what you're saying is people aren't seeing ROI out of cat memes and action figures in a box?
Not yet, no.
So where are they seeing the ROI?
We asked about the types of AI workloads deployed this year too. It was actually, we asked the same question like 2 years ago.
We did, yeah.
We were kind of like priming, AI as a topic. We didn't go really in depth a couple years ago, but this year we did. So a little bit of context. A couple years ago, we asked this question about workloads. And Gen AI was the top kind of workload category of what enterprises were doing. But then when we asked the same question this year, so 2 years later, Gen AI was third on the list.
Okay.
And the top two workloads now are kind of like security and more of like the agentic deployment, right? So it's cool to see the rank order move because it shows what I think enterprises are kind of focusing on in terms of delivering actual business results. They tend to be in those top two categories, whereas before it was just kind of like generative AI as an umbrella, not really sure. But now it's agents that are doing something and have some sort of maybe autonomy to execute tasks, and security, protecting your data, discovering anomalies, preventing attack in a more proactive way. So there's actually really interesting use cases now being deployed, I think, in production.
Right, so cat memes, no. Intelligence, automations, and efficiencies, yes.
Yes.
Cat memes are always a yes for me. All right, would you want to explain the sauce before we dig in?
This one we have homegrown hell. Homegrown hell is Szechuan tangerine hot sauce called sauce.
Szechuan can be tricky because that's the mouth numbing.
Now, just a PSA for you guys. A jalapeno is about 4,000 to 8,000 Scoville units. Mm-hmm. This is a wee bit more.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
This one's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any heat?
I still feel like the first one was the hottest.
The first one was crazy.
Yeah, the first
I
one
don't
was
know.
hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're about halfway through, guys. Mm-hmm. You're relatively new to this. Dan, you've done this before, but you kind of focused on the weak sauces. Thought I'd check and see, like, how you doing? How are the sweats?
That's all I need to know.
Can you still, complete a sentence or think a clear thought?
Yeah. So, like 2 minutes ago, I was fine.
This one's kicking in.
This one is very delayed. But I think we're
I did
surviving.
say wait before you get cocky.
I'm sweating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Well, you know what? Don't I think my trick is to not think about it and just push through. So that's exactly what we're gonna do. We're moving on to
Keep it
question
on.
4. Sauce 4. Keep on keeping on.
Keep on keeping on.
Yeah. Okay. So I am going to.
Oh, this one, yeah.
Yeah, it's got some giddy up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's get some water.
All right.
I'm waiting for the hot stuff.
Ooh. Went a little heavy-handed there. But you know what? That's okay. That's okay.
They get easier from here, guys. Don't worry.
Yeah. Okay. Tossing it over to you, Dan, once you get your composure.
Yep.
All we hear about is GPUs. So much stuff about GPUs. However, what I found interesting is that the results in this year's report actually said that GPUs aren't the biggest challenge that the industry is facing right now. So what are the top challenges?
Yeah, I think, again, it's common for people to attribute some of the issues with AI initiatives to the supply shortage that is present with GPUs. What we found is that some of the top challenges this year, top 2 actually, were data storage and data quality.
Oh, wow.
Storage being cost, access, management, and your quality being cleansing, a little bit of migration. And I think this kind of goes back to what I was talking about earlier in terms of infrastructure.
You all right?
Yeah, brain is slowing down a little bit, but these AI initiatives really do, I mean, this question shows that they really do depend, their success depends on the type of data that is coming in, how good of a data set that you're using. So I think it's important to see that the market is now focusing, they're running into these issues more commonly, and it's even more of an emphasis being put on having predictable storage in terms of cost, storage that's easy to access, easy to migrate your data through these AI initiatives, and you need to have a place to cleanse that data once you've aggregated it too. So these are all things that fall under that infrastructure, that basic building block of these AI initiatives. So this just kind of highlights that.
We hear all the time about the supply chain. I talk to partners. Right. I work with a lot of partners. Supply chains are elongating. The pricing volatility is crazy. Quotes are good for maybe 24 hours, and then they're not even honored. And I'm talking for storage gear and servers, not just GPUs, yes, but storage in particular. I'm hearing a lot, because then I hear customers turning to Wasabi, like, I need capacity now. I can't wait 6 months.
Right.
I need predictable costs because my budgets aren't infinite, right? I don't have money. I don't have unlimited budget, so I need capacity. I may not have the physical space. I might not have the hardware, and I don't have unlimited budget. Wasabi is the perfect answer for that.
Yeah, it's really just an industry-wide double whammy. Like, we're producing more data than ever, especially with AI and AI workloads, but we're also facing these pretty intense supply chain challenges. So I think that's where Wasabi is the perfect fitting puzzle piece.
So Andrew, I was reading, like, I think it's pretty well known, like, hard drives are sold out for the rest of 2026.
Yeah.
But I'm starting to hear noise in the marketplace that this may go well into 2027, that you may have money to buy hard drives, you just can't get one. Are you seeing anything along that lines?
Yeah, we're seeing the same thing. I mean, most of the analyst firms, whether it's GPUs, memory, SSDs, or hard drives, spinning disk, there's shortages that they're forecasting out for the next 3 to 5 years. So it's going to be a long-term difficulty when it comes to procurement, managing the supply chain, making sure you can get all of the compute and storage resources that organizations need.
So, like these wings, things aren't going to get better?
I was just going to say that.
Things may get worse before they get better.
Okay, so this is Funky's hot sauce. It is Nirvana. It is Dragon's Breath sauce, made with natural ingredients.
Oh, you're on it.
It doesn't tell us the pepper.
All right. Nirvana.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to reach Nirvana with this one.
Namaste.
It really hits you all at once,
Oh, that's good.
but it's good. Does anyone have a favorite sauce so far of the day?
This one has some like notes of dirt. I don't know. This one's very earthy.
Umami, I think
I
is the
love
technical
dirt.
term.
Mulch.
Amarillo remains my favorite. It's got a nice,
Yeah, that second one was good.
yeah, it's not very spicy.
No.
But it's all about the flavor.
Yep.
Right.
Ooh, it really lingers. I'm feeling the pain. Okay, but we gotta push through. Could you please pass me
Take my milk.
the fifth one? Okay.
Holy.
Oh no, we're at the bomb. The worst one, in my opinion.
It's a piece of cake.
No, it's not. It's
Yeah,
not.
this one is not easy.
Don't scare Andrew.
I'm in pain.
It's easy.
Okay.
This one lingers
It really lingers.
as well.
Ooh, my tongue feels like it's 3 times the size of what it
I
actually
told you,
is.
don't get cocky if it doesn't have an upfront hit.
All right, guys, let's gather ourselves. You know, come back to reality. We've reached nirvana. Let's get back inside, okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right, this next question is for you, Andrew, and I'll let you answer it before we try the sauce because this, in my opinion, is the worst one. So sorry in advance.
Can't wait.
But I wanted to ask, do you think that cost transparency is now a competitive differentiator for providers serving AI workloads? Sorry, I'm really feeling it.
100% yes. I think organizations want to make sure that. All right, so a couple of different things we've talked about, right? Exponential data growth, kind of out of control in many circumstances. The difficulty of procuring the underlying infrastructure, GPUs and storage. So organizations want to make sure that if they have a dollar to spend on AI initiatives, they're getting the most out of that dollar. So not only is the cost transparency important from that perspective, they want to make sure that the resources are utilized, right? And that's why I think a cloud service can be very powerful not only from you know what you're getting, I can't
You're
even
doing
talk.
great. You're doing great.
You know you're getting what you paid for. No hidden fees, right? Wasabi's done that on the storage side. But then also the utilization. So it's like when I'm not using it, I'm not paying for it, or I've agreed to a certain amount, and that's what I know, like I'm going to utilize those resources. So it's not only I guess the point I'm trying to make is it's not only the transparency, but like the efficiency of spend. So
There's definitely a point
It's
to be made
the
about
life cycle. This is, we've heard this all, in the past. This is what you always heard about mainframes. It's such an expensive resource that you had to book your time, and the least important things got booked in the middle of the night, and people would get up and go use the mainframe. It's the same concept, only carried forward now into AI resources, especially AI, shared AI resources in the cloud. So the analogy holds, in my opinion.
yeah, hear your heavy breathing over there. Here's your sauce.
I'm really nervous to try this one. This is a side
Trying
note,
to get
but
it
I
out.
have
Not
this
sure, I'm just trembling inside.
I just want to know, this one is not called The Last Dab, Dan. But we'll cut you some slack.
it's definitely one of the 7 deadly sins. The deadly dab.
Just to
pour a
kill
little bit in
time
there.
too, because back to the transparency question. So we focus on AI in the Cloud Storage Index, but part of those recurring questions we ask are around.
Such a big. That was a lot of sauce. Sorry.
He's unreal.
You're so brave.
Part of the
Sorry.
recurring questions we ask are around like cost and price. So it doesn't matter if it's AI or not. We know that like when it comes to cloud storage billing, almost half of what people pay are on the fee components of utilizing the service, not the actual storage capacity. And then when we ask about budgets in general, not just AI, but anything, we see a lot of budget overruns, and the reason for those overruns in many cases are fee related. So it's kind of just like more of the same when it comes to AI too.
And Andrew, I've read some of your data, and in the CSI report, not in the AI section, what is a continuing trend about how much of people's cloud bills are actually paid on storage?
The 50-50 split?
Yes.
Yeah. It's almost every year. It's like 4 years in a row, right?
They're
It's
50
nuts
yeah.
how consistent it is.
Yeah.
they're
it's
paying
very-
50% on fees and API calls, right? So
Right.
basically taxing to use your own data.
Yes.
Shameless plug. Wasabi has no fees for API requests. For
Operations,
egress.
data access,
Yeah.
egress.
Now everybody's favorite, the bomb evolution.
Haha.
What's the evolution part?
It is a hot sauce. As much description as you get.
That's it.
It
Okay.
needs no description.
Wait,
its
do-
reputation
do these-
precedes itself.
Do these sauces change that much? Or have you guys been using like the same ones pretty
No,
much?
no.
You've been
They-
rotating?
Wait,
They rotate in and out.
Okay.
they really did change the recipe.
You see, I told you. Piece of cake.
My biggest qualm about Da Bomb the last time I was, I guess, hosting Spicy Bites was that it was just all heat and no flavor. But there's significantly more flavor in this one. I don't know if you guys agree.
It's kind of sweet.
Yeah.
I don't really.
Maybe
Have
we've
a
got a fresher
comparison?
batch.
Ooh, good point. Good point. Dan, how are you doing?
We're all right now.
So this is a good time to check in.
Just kidding.
The bomb is kind of infamous. Lily said she believes it's the hottest one.
I take that back, at least with this
I
new
agree.
recipe.
The last
I'm
time that I did this, it was indeed the hottest one.
I'm waiting for the heat to kick in. So, Andrews, Dan, how you doing?
This is more of a like growing tickle in the back of my throat. This is not like some of the other sauces. It was like really heavy on the tongue. This is growing from the back, which honestly is not as bad.
It will keep building.
Yeah.
It's building up now.
I'm just gonna grab Jenny's double dough.
Not sponsored.
Bringing out the big guns for this one.
Oh, it's really melty.
Did you bring a spoon?
I did.
Okay, moving right along, you guys. Question 6, we're almost done. Wait, are we at question 6?
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So sorry. Whew. Okay, this question is for you, Dan, as you try that ice cream. I'm really jealous.
Well, that works.
Yeah.
That works.
How are organizations using object storage in the context of AI and AI workloads?
Yeah. So to start on that, I think it's best to start with like how we conventionally think about the stages of these AI initiatives. I'm just going to reference my notes here. So in order, we like to think about it as data retrieval, data cleansing, production and batch inferencing, your model training, and then retaining those models and archiving.
So we asked you a really hard question right when you can't think.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
No. So with all those steps in mind, object storage kind of fits very well into two of those steps. Those being your data retrieval and your ingest, and then sort of the end of the process, your model retention, your archiving. That is where we're seeing object storage being used most efficiently, and those are the top two stages that our survey respondents this year answered them utilizing object storage.
Yeah,
Excuse me.
it comes back to what we were talking about, right? It's the expensive resources, but there are also different resources, and there's sort of a life cycle to the AI. Just like not all storage is created equal, flash is fast and spinning disk is less, not all GPUs are created equal.
Right.
They do different things, right, Andrew?
Yep.
So you want to have the right resources at the right stage to do the right tasks at hand.
Yeah.
And object storage comes into play big time on the beginning and the end, the ingest and the archive.
Yeah. And that's what we see some of our large AI customers doing. Their use cases kind of reflect the survey results, right? Doing a lot of large volumes of ingest and doing a large volumes of kind of like aggregation and egress of the data too. The processing in the middle, a lot of times that's either going to be connected to the GPU. Some of them are just doing it on premises and moving it in and out of the cloud, or more high performant storage, maybe file, block. But one of the reasons that we're focused on newer services, newer classes of service like Wasabi Fire, might be as spicy as these wings, is because of the need for higher performant access to storage in that middle area of the workflow.
Right. The big takeaway there for me is the data doesn't just sit in one place in AI. It
Right.
moves, and you move it to the appropriate resource to do the
Right.
appropriate task. The last thing you want to do is have to pay fees when you move that data back and forth.
Right.
Because you're going to train and retrain, you're going to archive, you need to keep a lot of data as to to be able to do reporting and compliance reporting, you're going to have to keep that for a long period of time. You're going to have to move stuff in and out. Having to get taxed to do that every single time is kind of cost prohibitive.
Do I see you crying?
My eyes are watering.
Your eyes are
It's
watering.
allergy season.
He bleeds.
Yeah, blame it on the pollen. Blame it on the pollen. All right, we're almost done. We just have to try this one and one more, and we're done.
Send it.
Oh, and this one is...
Oh, sorry.
What
This
is-
is the smoked serrano squash Reaper X hot sauce. That's a mouthful.
Oh boy.
Bombs
That didn't
away.
sound scary at all.
This one has a great taste too.
I'm not,
Definitely
I'm not
smoky.
getting the squash, though,
Yeah.
but I am getting the smoke.
Oh, and it's just instantly hot.
I can't even feel it now. It's just pain. Wow. And could you pass me the last one, please?
Ah, yes. The last dab. I'm going to dab myself up. Fun fact, be careful with this.
Yeah. I will
I
never
know-
forget Sean.
Careful around
He
the eyes.
couldn't talk for 10 minutes.
Yeah, yeah. All right, you guys. This is big. We've officially made it to the last dab of the 7 deadly dabs. This is the hottest sauce that Hot Ones has to offer, according to their official page. It's up for debate on whether it's hotter than the Bomb, which is the 5th one that we did, I think. But we'll see if that holds true today. So going into the final question, Andrew, this one's for you. I wish you luck.
All right.
Why is a multi-cloud strategy for AI important or desirable in today's, I guess, climate?
Yeah. Andrew kind of hit on it. Back to that topic of data movement and data gravity. Those are, I think, 2 of the concepts that we are running into the most with these AI use cases. So when we think about hybrid cloud or multi-cloud, let's just bundle them all into one for the purposes of this conversation. Hybrid cloud meaning you have the ability to move data and applications or infrastructure from on-prem to cloud, and in a lot of cases public cloud. And then multi-cloud is the utilization of multiple public cloud providers, right?
Yeah.
So in the spirit of data movement and often having to move your AI-related data and applications to where the processing might reside or to where the applications might reside, that concept is why hybrid and multi-cloud are so important in the context of AI, right? You absolutely don't want to be punished financially for moving that data. And then a lot of these applications they just won't tolerate the time and the latency it takes to move that data, right? To move it inefficiently, I should say. So it's kind of a trope, but like you don't want to have these data silos where it's stuck and you end up having to move the compute and the applications to the data, right? It's always easier to kind of I can't even think.
You're doing great. It's very impressive.
So let me do you a little favor here and stall so you can recollect
All right.
yourself. I heard an interesting term recently called the cloud cliff,
Oh,
which is essentially, and in essence, to keep it simple, that a lot of these applications or AI projects have a ton of cloud credits or tokens. But what they don't realize is when those tokens or credits run out, suddenly it becomes fee, and they suddenly get steep cloud bills. What was sort of essentially gratis or free is now they're paying through the roof for, right?
yeah. Okay, this is another great point. So maybe we should just, even simpler is like the lock-in component, whether it's from a workload perspective, the applications you want to use, or the financial perspective. The multi-cloud and the hybrid cloud approach helps you avoid that sense of lock-in, right?
Yeah.
So that's why we always talk about Wasabi being an important ingredient in your application environment, and that's kind of the same, we take that same mantra to AI workloads too, right? We want to be that kind of centralized, reliable ingredient. We're not trying to bring all the applications to the table or control the workflow end to end. It's just about being S3 compatible, having the right tap integrations ready for you, and making sure that, again, your data is not just trapped somewhere.
Yeah, and I'm hearing the term cloud concentration come up more and more.
Yeah.
And in some instances, that's where Wasabi plays well. We're the ultimate neutral cloud. We're not looking to get every single workload that you possibly have into Wasabi. We just want to be the S3 compatible, affordable, predictable cloud storage.
This one's actually painful.
My mouth is just numb.
Yeah, this one?
But it's not that bad. It's kind of nice that it's just numb.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm over the worst of it. Maybe
a lot of sighing over here.
Yeah, it's funny. The sauces I think they do affect people differently. I'll give you a little bit of a break.
Please.
I do want to kind of go off that multi-cloud fact that you're talking about. Part of the cloud storage index this year that we actually added, it's the second year that we've done it, is in-depth interviews. So we actually, to go along with the quantitative data that comes with the 1,700 person survey that we do, we also do some in-depth surveys with AI users and cybersecurity users specifically. And a super common sentiment that we found in the AI interviews specifically was, if they're using a cloud provider that doesn't allow for easy migration, predictable management amongst the multiple cloud providers that they'll use, they say that's usually a no-go for them when it comes to procuring or finding a new cloud storage provider. So that was a very valued sentiment among them, is the data that they store needs to be easily accessible, easily moved, because that multi-cloud strategy is so common in today's market.
It's just interesting how much of these trends are trends that we're seeing globally. Because I don't know if you mentioned this before, if I was just paralyzed by fear when you were talking about the sample. But the interviewees and the survey respondents are based all over the world. And so there are different data cuts of the cloud storage index that do show differences in different geographic regions based on what's a priority, what's not. But I do think that with that there are a lot of common threads here that we're talking about that apply to, North America, Europe and the Middle East, and Asia Pacific.
Yeah, because we have 1,700 globally, and then, for example, we have 250 respondents in Japan, and I think 200 across the UK. So we segment the data by all those different geographies.
So the cloud storage bill is universal and global.
That is universal.
Sort of like the pane that's sitting in this room right now.
Yes.
Nice tie in there.
Yes.
All right. Are we up for a bonus question while the heat just marinates?
Could you grab me one of the spoons back there? Sorry to cut you off.
Wait, what?
Or a fork.
For what?
I'm just gonna help out Andrew here. Dude, this is unreal. It's unreal.
All right, guys, we have reached the end. You did it. Andrew, this was your first time doing this challenge, correct?
Yes.
You did it.
Yes.
You're still with us.
Amazing.
You guys all did amazing, and thank you for indulging us.
Thank you for having us.
And to our viewers, thank you for indulging us by watching. I know I said this before, but if you want to learn more about the Cloud Storage Index, I know we talked a lot about trends that are global, especially those that relate to AI, and as we're seeing AI hype, the honeymoon phase, I really like how you described that earlier, start to wind down. I think we're in for a really interesting next couple of months and years as we see how the AI hype kind of plays out. So the Cloud Storage Index is a really great benchmark of being able to see where we're at one point in time, year after year. So I definitely recommend downloading that and checking out what this year's insights about AI have to say. And anything else before we wrap it up, you guys?
This is my second time doing this, and I just want to say it does not get easier at all.
Andrew, kudos for finishing.
Yeah, thank you. It's great to be on. Great to just talk incoherently. about data
all a blur.
while sweating.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for
And that would
for
be
arranging
different
that.
from every other day, how?
Yeah. So please download the report if you want to see the coherent results, not given to you by the sweaty competitive intelligence team. That's my.
All kidding aside, I look forward to the CSI every year. I get more useful nuggets that I use all year long by reading this report.
It's really the gift that keeps on giving, and I'm not just saying that
It
because
is.
the team is right here. It's really great. So recommend checking it out, and stay spicy. Thanks for joining us.